Joining me now is Fadi Essameel. He's a former senior staffer for the U.S. Congress and a research fellow for the International Institute for Counterterrorism. And we also have Samer Sinijlawi joining us from Jerusalem. He's a Fatah activist and chairman for the Jerusalem Development Fund. So, Samer, I'd like to begin with you. Tell us what life is like right now for Palestinians who are living in the Gaza Strip and how this conflict is already impacting their financial situation. We know that there are power shortages. How are they feeling about this latest round of violence?
Well, it's a catastrophe, Natasha. 2.2 million people have been held hostages since Hamas took power in Gaza. And these people are paying price more than any other side. They pay price more than jihad, more than Hamas, more than the PA, more than any other side. You have seen that there has been a lot of civilians who were killed during these attacks, including children. So the majority of Gazans who are not related to either Hamas or jihad, and they are dreaming for a day to be liberated from this situation. Most of the people in Gaza would like to see Hamas leaving Gaza, would like to see a change of power. Most of the Palestinians would like to see a change of power in Ramallah and in Gaza. But these 2.2 million people are living without drinkable water. They don't have any kind of communication with the world. Most of the young generation in Gaza have never seen anybody except a Palestinian from Gaza, have never traveled anywhere outside of Gaza. And Gaza is a small strip, very condensed. So it's a human catastrophe there, and I think these kind of military operations will not serve the Israeli stability, security, and peace requirements, nor the well-being of the majority of Palestinian civilians, innocent civilians who have nothing to do with the Jihad Islami. It's a broken strategy. We should try to see how we can find a way out of this catastrophe. This military action, this war, it was taken only less than 5 weeks of Lapid getting in power. He is the fastest prime minister to declare a war. This is a war. This is a big military operation. And Israel started this, but nobody can guarantee that it can end it. Nobody can guarantee whether Hamas will be involved or not.
Right.
I think it's maybe out of luck that the leadership of Hamas staying in Doha have an interest not to escalate things before the FIFA World Cup in Doha. Maybe this is one element that is keeping everything calm until now.
Right.
But I guess even those who are trying to moderate things, whether Egypt or the United Nations, can sell nothing now to Hamas or Jihad Islami, because the promises for economic development, for example, nobody has delivered to them any economic development since the last war.
So I'd like to turn to Fadi now. Already the economic situation, like we were just hearing Samer speak about in the Gaza Strip, was dire before this latest round of violence. That is one of the reasons that analysts say that Hamas is not outwardly getting involved. But can we expect that to change? Or is Hamas too worried about the cost of getting involved at this point? And I'm also interested to know what you think about the Palestinian Authority, which is also watching from the sidelines here in the West Bank.
Well, I agree with all the things that our co-panelist has just said. I just think that the situation is actually worse than what he describes. For some people, not all people in Gaza live the same way. There are some very fancy neighborhoods there, and that is very thing. Like any third world country, you have the small neighborhoods where the leadership is living in very, very high standard of living, and then you have everybody else. So for everybody else, the situation is probably much worse than what Mr. Sinijlawi here is suggesting. And in terms of Hamas, as things stand in the current state of affairs, things are actually working out for Hamas because they have somebody doing some work for them. They don't have basically to pay anything. They have no cost of being blamed for starting anything because they didn't really, not on this round. And the Islamic Jihad, which always nibbles at the heels of Hamas, sometimes even accuses Hamas of being a little bit too soft Now they get to show what they can do, and as we see, they can't do much, and that will have some effect inside the local Gazan politics. So Hamas at this point is in a, politically speaking, cynically speaking, is in a, I can't use the word good place, but in a favorable place in terms of the interest. But that can change very quickly. And what will happen, first of all, if the operation extends more, I mean, we are just about the end of the period of time that we can call this an operation or a big operation, something like that. After a few days, they will have to intervene. If, for example, Israel, for some reason, attacks Hamas directly, they will have to respond. Third option, if there will be some enormous jump in civilian casualties, which is clearly attributable to Israeli operations, because we know that the numbers of casualties as they come out, and during these times of the fog of war, we don't always know who was killed by whom. But if, for example, we have a big jump, that they will have to enter the game, and this is not working in their favor.